Hello weaving friends, do you ever get completely seized by the desire to weave an inkle band? Well, that happens to me sometimes. In fact, it happened to me last night, and I thought when I wake up tomorrow I must weave an inkle band or my life will not be complete. So that's what I did. I woke up and I designed this inkle band and I warped it up and then I started weaving it. And then I thought, this band is so pretty, I'm sure that so many of you would like to weave it as well. So I decided I had to share it with you all. So although today's video is about a couple of inkle weaving tips that I want to pass on to you, I'm also passing on this free pattern for this band. You will find it on my blog and you'll find the link for that underneath. And also on the blog, you'll find a lot of other tips written down that I haven't included in this video. And you know, I'm so enjoying sharing all of these things with you all. So many of you have been over to my online weaving school and joined up there as a member, and that has just been so fantastic, and I thank you for that. And that allows me to continue doing this kind of thing, just having fun and sharing the things that I'm doing with you. If you want to check out my online weaving school, I'll leave a link to that down below as well. I have previously done an Inkle Loom video and also provided a free floral pattern for you there. If you haven't seen that video, I advise you to watch this video first and then pop over and watch that one. The card will be in the top right of the screen. Pop over there after this one and it shows you step by step how to warp your loom and how to weave the band. This video is more about some tips that I wanted to share. Now, my first tip is to find a really comfortable weaving position. That's going to mean different things for different people. We're not all going to find the same position just the same. So for instance, in this position, I've got my loom propped against the table, so against a hard surface. There is a part of the loom that sticks out that kind of rests against the table. And the other part, the front of the loom, I've popped, how can I say it delicately? Okay, I'm just going to say it under my boobs. Oh goodness. I apologize to any males who are watching this. It's just right at the top of your rib cage, and if you're a female, at the bottom of your bra line. I find that a comfortable place to weave when I'm weaving against a table. However, it doesn't always remain comfortable for a long time because the loom is kind of pushing into you. You're using your body to keep the loom straight and everything. So if you're weaving for a long time, that may not always be the best solution. You might need to change it up a little bit. One of my other favorite weaving positions is sitting in my recliner. I often sit here at night time, and as a family we watch a movie together. And this is a really comfortable position, and I love to be able to weave and be with my family at the same time. And because the Inkle Loom is so portable, this is a good position to do that. Now, the position that you see me sitting in now is a little bit different again. Actually, this is more about what was necessary for me to do the video, but I'm really actually quite comfortable here. So I'm seated in an office chair that is adjustable up and down, back and forwards and that kind of thing, so you can get really comfy in it. And I've got it low down and I'm resting the other end against my bed, and then the front end is sort of at the top of my ribs once again, as I discussed before. This is actually a really comfy position. Okay, the next tip that I have for you is the more tension on the Inkle Loom, the better. Now, if you come from, say, rigid heddle weaving, you might understand that too much tension is not good for your loom. But this loom, being the sort of construction that it is, it's made to take the tension, and you actually need a really good amount of drum tight tension in order to weave your band effectively. Otherwise you're going to get bunched up areas. Your edges aren't going to look even. It's just going to be difficult and not right. So for warp faced weaving, inkle weaving, we need good tight tension. Now, if you have warped your loom and you find that your tension is just not quite there, here's a little trick that I use. I just grab a piece of cardboard separator that I've cut. I just cut this off the end of one that was getting a bit manky, and then I just wedge that underneath the band where I've already woven, and that really brings up the tension to drum tight. And then I keep adjusting that and wedging it back in as I weave. Okay, so the next tip that I want to address, and this is probably one of the most common questions, is how much tension to apply on your weft as you're weaving, especially as pertains to the edges. So I'm going to actually weave a little bit, and I can talk about it while I'm doing it and show you that way. So I'm going through the shed, and if you know anything about inkle weaving, it's a bit different to other two shaft weaving. So I've taken that weft thread through, then I change the shed. I always bring my fingers down and separate it, and it's at this point that I tighten the last row that I wove. So I tighten that in the new shed. People always wonder, how far do I pull it in order to weave the band properly and to have good tension on the edges? Well, it's probably a little bit further than you think. I always leave my hand or my fingers in this shed, and then I tug sort of downwards on that weft thread until it pulls in a bit, and you get to a point with inkle weaving where you know that it just feels right. It's not too tight. You don't want that edge drawing right in and being wonky and ugly. You want it pulled in enough that it's pulled in quite tightly. Now I'm beating that one, and I beat it pretty hard. I don't beat it as in like that hard. I beat it as in I'm pushing down on the weft. Taking the new weft through, I always like to keep the sheds separated with my fingers. So in this shed, when I'm taking the new weft through, and if this is not familiar to you, you'll understand it more when you watch my other inkle video. But this is not the time to tighten up your weft thread and to try and get it really straight against the edge, because it's in an open shed at the moment. You need the closed shed to sandwich that thread in there so that when you pull it through, it stays, because it's under tight tension. So go into the new shed, and now I can pull on that thread. I see things move in a little bit at the side, and it feels right. So now I take the new one through. Once again, I pull that through, but I'm not fiddling with the edges. I'm not trying to make the edges any particular way until I change the shed, and then I want to fix up that tension. Pulling on it until it feels right. It's more important that you weave consistently than you worry so much about how tight and all of that. It's more that if you're inconsistent, so if I pull tightly on the weft sometimes and not at other times, then I'm going to have really wonky, unattractive edges. So it's more important that you do the weft the same each time. Having said that, if you do leave the weft really loose, if you're just not putting in enough tension, you'll get little loops and stuff at the edges. So the band will show you whether you are actually weaving enough, whether you're actually providing enough tension or not. The next tip that I wanted to give you with inkle weaving is to use your first couple of inches, at least 2 inches of band when you begin weaving, as a practice. So my 2 inches always look quite different to when I get, say, up to the later parts of the weaving. So by this stage, I have a consistent width in the band. Remember, I was talking about consistency before. But down near the beginning, just here, you can see it goes much wider. And that is because it takes a little while for the warp threads to come together, and it takes a little while for you to get that personal and best weft tension for this particular band. So don't worry about the first couple of inches. If it looks ugly, it's fine. It hasn't come together well enough to look like a warp-faced band. also fine, but by this stage it's come together and then I'm on the right track and I just stay on that like a straight road. Okay friends, the last tip that I want to share with you is it relates to the last tip that I gave you, those first 2 inches. Also what you're going to notice is that after your first advancing of the warp, your tension will get much better. So if you weave those first 2 inches and it's not looking so good, you can advance your warp a little bit, tighten things up again, and you'll find that it comes together much faster. There's something about the band going around the starting peg, also maybe putting a little separator in if you need to, that just improves the tension that much that your band really starts to look good after that time. Well, I hope this short video has been helpful to you. I'm going to continue weaving this beautiful band. Don't forget to hop on over to my blog where I'll be sharing the exact yarns that I used for this piece, the color instructions for warping. There'll be a printable for you to use, and I really hope that you give it a go. If you're on Instagram and you do complete this project, don't forget to tag me so that I can share it in my stories. Well, that's it from me today, friends. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and until next time, happy weaving!